G'day punters, victims of the punt time, Sydney review for the championships day one. Randwick, it was a soft six. The track had some level of pattern to it, but here to run through the meeting overall is, first of all, Mark Shean. Mark, how'd you find the day overall?
Yeah, good day of racing. Track played reasonably well. Probably the inside might have been just a touch slower, but all in all, the track wasn't too bad. We had a good crowd there, good buzz on the day. Great Doncaster. Good to see Jamie Carr come to Sydney and get the cash.
It was quite amazing how the two horses that were the main, focal points of the media stories during the week actually managed to fight out the Doncaster. Anyway, Mark Rhoden, you had a sensational day for mailbag subs. Picked up quite a few winners. Nature Strip, Cascadian, chief amongst them, had another winner at Newcastle. You obviously would have enjoyed the day.
Yes, good. Yeah, good. Two good Saturdays in a row. So very pleasing on that front. And yeah, great days racing. As Mark said, track was fair enough. No complaints from this punter.
Beautiful. And Rob Scurry, you managed to get away with a slight win. You've kept the streak intact. That's, 5-6 winning
Five.
Saturdays in a row?
Not that I'm counting.
No pressure at all going into day two of the championships. But just overall, the atmosphere on track, how'd you find it?
Pretty good, It wasn't too busy. I've been there when it's really, really hard to move and do anything. So yeah, just found a spot in front of the stage where Hot Dub Time Machine were going to play. Not that I saw any of that, but look, it's a perfect day's weather-wise. Lots of beautiful horses parading well. So yeah, it's fun.
Got to get the punters in for the Hot Dub Time Machine, that's for sure. Okay, let's start at the top. The kindergarten stakes over 1100 for the 2-year-olds. Very slow tempo here on punting form starter, 12.8 lengths slow to the 600. Rob, you managed to find a couple of these, and Paul was one of them. Just run us through what you saw with some of these babies.
Well, I kind of like the first four in the numbers. None of them really paraded that badly, but I just saw Paul at Rose Hill when it was very short. I can't remember who was in the race, but he made the mark for something else that day. It might have been home ground, but he just looked much better than he did that day, and I just thought of the old SP profile, and it was as simple as that. He just kept drifting, which was nice. I also didn't mind this King of Sparta. I'm not sure if it's got head noise or what's going on there, but he looks like a strong sprint type. And the two for Matt Dunn's horse, I think Subterranean, looks like it's got something. Didn't look quite ready, but yeah, maybe he's one to follow out of this race down the track.
Okay, Mark Shean, are you following any of these 2-year-olds going forward over the next couple of starts?
Look, I don't think it was a vintage kindergarten by any means. I agree with Rob. This horse paraded a lot better than he did at Rose Hill, and then he over-raced in the size, and coming back in distance obviously suited him. Anna again was a decent run, but it only won a pretty poor maiden at Gosford prior to this. I got to agree, Subterranean looked like he had a lot of improvement to my eye. Looked pretty big and sweated up, so probably he's the only one I'd sort of want to follow out of the race. I think King of Sparta's, he's very bullish in the yard, isn't he, Rob? Look, he's a magnificent type, but he probably needs gelding, but probably with his breeding and that they won't. But I agree, he's probably got a bit of head noise, but yeah, nothing really going forward.
Okay, Mark Rhoden, you're looking at this race, very slow tempo. Anything take the eye?
No, just that horse Mark mentioned. And again, I thought he was 1,000,000 to 1 chance, but he's run a lot better than his price. Paul just had the perfect run, slow pace, right spot. Too good.
Okay. Race 2 is the Carbine Club, Group 3 over the mile. Fast tempo here, 2.4 lengths fast to the 600. Set it up nicely for the Victor Kiku. Well done, Mark Shean. Just one there. Rob Scurry, run us through some of these runners.
Look, I was, it was all too easy at this point. Poland at $10 just stood out to me like a sore thumb from the yard. I saw it at Rose Hill, and it seemed to have put on condition and paraded it a bit better. So he was an each-way play for me. I thought it was the winner at 600 metres out. I was almost counting the cash. I was going again. But Mark's horse, who's little doer, classic perfect wallet, not much, she's not a great type, but she does everything right, big in condition. She just went up around him too quick. people were saying that maybe Kieran didn't give it every chance, but I just felt the winner was just too quick for it, boxed it in, and that's what caused the problem. I think Poland, you can follow. It'll probably go to that Frank Packer plate and run well again.
Mark Shean, a couple of these Victorians, no match for Kiku there.
No, I thought this was a good win, even though the pace was on. She was still 3 wide on a limb most of the way, and I got to agree. I got to say I sold out coming to the 600. I thought other horses looked to be going a bit better than her, but she's got a good turn of foot this time in, and good win. The Irishman was there to win, but didn't really go on with it. I thought Poland was just a touch keen in the run. I'm not too sure about him going to 2,000 personally. I think he might be better at a mile, but I suppose he did have the 59 kilos here and have to give them weight. So if he gets a better run and a suck run, gets smothered away, maybe. High Supremacy obviously was a talk of the race with having no luck at all, and James McDonald under a steward investigation for the ride where he seemed to have run on the inside, but he'd made his mind up that the fence was no good, and this had no luck at all. But it had a charm run on the fence all the way until that point.
Okay. Mark Rhoden, your thoughts on that runner there?
High Supremacy, yeah, he's clearly unlucky. So there's plenty for him. He looks like 2,000 will be suitable for him going forward. She's just going sensationally, Kiku. Has run right up to her, she's a really big figure for a midweek at Kensington with me, and she's run right up to that again and got the money. The fast pace was the key to it, I suppose. Maybe the two ways to look at the Irishman. Either he's been exposed that he just isn't absolute top class, but, he was doing more work than some of the others chasing the hot speed, I suppose. So he can be a tiny bit forgiving. He's pretty good.
Don't worry about him. He's gone to Hong Kong, mate.
Oh, that's right. They're doing the swap for the other one, aren't they? Shadow Hero's coming back.
Oh, don't mention that horse.
So, okay, well, I've just wasted 30 seconds of everyone's time talking about it. I do apologise. good win, Kicker.
Oh, very good. Race 3, country championships final. Art Cadeau led the whole way, very slow tempo, 6.8 lengths slow to the 600. It was pretty much the only horse that probably finished the closest to the rail out of all of the winners on the day, but that probably isn't saying much about the rest of the field in that case. Rob Scurry, run us through the country horses.
Well, look, I had eight on top from 3 and 4 and 5. I ended up having a small play on the 8. I just, the slow pace didn't suit it at all. Art Cadeau looked like the best sort of type walker to me, but it's just a bit podgy. But that's to be expected off 6 weeks. Just too good. This another one paraded very, very well at top, coped great, as did Rothenberg. Other than that, not much more to add. Best horse won.
Okay. Mark Shean, is that the way you saw it?
Yeah, he was probably in the inferior ground. Second horse, pretty brave, was wide on a limb most of the way, and they just had a bit of class on the others. So, yeah, not much from me going forward for this race.
Yeah, Mark Rhoden, did you have any interest going into this race at all?
I had a small bet on, I think, Sea Reef. I can't remember its name now.
Same as me, Pure Fuego.
Pure Fuego, yeah, won't be backing it again either. Okay, yeah, wrong spot, but right position in run in a slow pace. So, they sort of balance each other out. Big run, another one on a limb all the way. Wild Rocket and Show Me Baby just closed off really, really well, but, where are you going to back it? It can only be in highways or in bush races. They're not Saturday City class, so, yeah, not much to take out of it.
Okay, race 4 was the Adrian Knox over 2,000 metres for the 3-year-old fillies with an eye to the Oaks this weekend. They went at an even tempo, 1.7 lengths fast to the 600 on punting forms data. Rob Scurry, 3-year-old fillies is usually your bag. How'd you see this bunch?
This year's been a bit rubbish, actually, on the 3-year-old filly. It's just these 3-year-olds. I don't know. But, the 2-year-olds are made up for it. But, look, almost my favourite horse to look at as a 3-year-old is this Easy Far. I've been loved it since it ran against the Cheetah that day. I'm about square on it now. But yeah, it looked the best type to me. The winner looked paraded well. Hats off to Ed Cummings to take this horse along slowly, and it's surely got to be a live chance. Probably be equal second favourite after the failure of the thing in the what I'm talking about, the other 3-year-old filly, Montefilia. Flexible was the other play in the race. So I just had a few small plays: Flexible, Easy Far, and I forget the other one. But yeah, forgettable race, forgettable bunch of 3-year-olds.
Mark Shean, your thoughts on the fillies?
Yeah, this winner's certainly come along in the last couple of runs. She's been hitting the line quite well. We've given a lovely ride by Bowman, bargain right out the back. Look, this is a really good wet tracker, but she'll need the track to stay wet for the Oaks next week. I think her form is definitely superior on wet ground. Flexible, just jacked up a little bit at the barrier again, which is a trait that she's starting to have. She wouldn't go on the track at the Kensington the other day, and then at the barrier she didn't seem too keen, so I don't know if she's getting a bit sour. I thought she had a chance, but yeah, Duo's going okay. But this race hasn't been a great guide to the Oaks in the last, for a while, apart from I think one in about the last 7 or 8 years. So yeah,
last year.
Sorry.
Collette last year.
Collette last year, but
that was
apart from that, it has been a bit up and down.
Who can forget Wild Iris? I don't.
No, we can't forget Wild Iris.
I was there. Knocking off a shit job. Turned up, stood out. Wages for the day.
There you go, 3-year-old fillies. There.
Yeah.
Mark Rhoden, your thoughts on this bunch going forward, backing up over a week?
Yeah, not sure it's the best form going into the Oaks. You would think the likes of the Harmony Rose, Hungry Heart, form 1 would be stronger than this. That said, on an upward spiral, the winner did have every chance, but she rated really well at winning at Warwick Farm, stepped up and tripped, and she's backed it up. So heading in the right direction. Yeah, big run from back in the field, given the tempo from Bargain. And then Flexible. So, she's run a figure that's not going to win at the Oaks, obviously, and that might be about how good she is. So, yeah, really only the first two you'd consider as any sort of chance next week, I think.
Yeah, and they're around $13, $15. Harmony Rose is currently favourite from the Kiwi, Amarelina. Oh, I've butchered that. Anyway, so we'll see how the Kiwi goes. I suspect she might be the one to keep a close eye on. All right, we'll go to the Chairman's Quality, 2600, Quick Thinker, dominant off the very fast tempo, along with Rondinella. They were the two that really cleared out. They've gone 9.4 lengths fast for the class here to the 600, so pretty heavy duty. Rob Scurry, how'd you find these stayers?
I had a small play on Paths of Glory. The mount was always going to be the issue, but some crazy man took $1.70 at the top of the straight, so I got out of it. And the other play was Mirage Dancer. It's a horse that I've had a bit of luck with in the past. I thought he paraded really, really well, but I don't know. He seems to. I don't know what you're going to do with him. Spell him and try again, I guess. That's what I'll do. But, nothing wrong at all with Quick Thinker on looks. Paraded really well. Most of these, paraded relax, close to top or at top. But, yeah, look, Sacramento, he looked magnificent again, not sweaty. If it was a firmer track, I might have got stuck to him. But, again, he was half slow away, which doesn't help a horse that needs to lead, I think.
Mark Shean, this race did look very difficult when we were previewing it on Friday, and in the end, a whole bunch of them have been beaten a very long way. What are you making of it?
Well, I think from about the 800-metre mark, after all the work that Paths of Glory had done, it did look like Quick Thinker and Rondinella were going to fight the race out. There were only two that were travelling into the race, but this horse hasn't got to the 600 his last two runs, Quick Thinker, and there he was just travelling up on the bit behind them on Saturday, so obviously he's been a bit fat inside. Just look at him in the yard, he's looked okay, but obviously he's taken some racing to get there. Great trainer, Murray Baker, and obviously won the Derby on this track last year on more testing ground, but he's come good. Rondinella ran well. Paths of Glory set a bit of a task from that wide alley.
Mark Rhoden, you didn't want a bar of this race on Friday. Could you have picked Quick Thinker in hindsight?
Oh, no, I bet in the race. I was Mirage Dancer and Rondinella.
Apologies.
So, yeah, I've been a bit stiff in a sense. Rondinella's put in probably the best run of her life and been beaten the others by 6, and stinking old Quick Thinker's decided to find his best form. It's this time last year, I suppose. But, he won the Derby last year and he got soft ground, that's fine. But he was coming off. Last year he ran third in the Far Lap and then won the Tulloch and then won the Derby. He was flying. He was in great form when he won the Derby last year. He's been going terribly this time, but he's found his best form. He's a real, I think the very fast pace on the soft track has played into his hands. He's that sort of horse. And yeah, he's unfortunately for me knocked off Rondinella. After the race, you can't. You go back to what he did in the Derby. Yeah, he's a chance in this for sure. But you just had to take him on too much trust from me. So I couldn't find him, but yeah, massive margins. You know, when you get out to this trip and they're going that fast up front, the horses just give up. You know, and yeah, that's reflected in the big margins.
Speaking
there's one other one to mention. Another horse that hasn't been able to pick its feet up, called Feel the Rush, and just done absolutely nothing in 3 runs in Australia so far. I mean, it's been beaten 9 lengths, but it just showed for the first time a glimpse that she might not be completely cast. So we'll see.
Do you think that's down to purely just the very fast tempo? Just might be a complete and utter grinder?
Yeah, well, steeplechase. Maybe there's something warnable for it, but yeah, I suppose that just goes again to what a suicidal tempo at a trip like this can do.
Okay, well, speaking of big margins, here's the size over 1400. Animo won pretty easy. Even tempo, 1.7 lengths faster to 600. Rob, could you make a case for anything else outside of the winner here?
Oh, look, I was on the Tiger Malay at 20s, and I was thinking about having a big launch at it, but this Animo walked into the yard, and in about 10 seconds I knew that it was parading much better, and with its form the other week, it was going to be very, very hard to beat. So, you know, a lot of horses paraded well. I've always thought that, you know, maybe Captivant was a good chance in this race, and he's run well. Hilal never better. The Melbourne horse looked strong and professional, but Animo, different class on looks. Really, is a lovely mover, and I just felt like a bit of a eunuch after this. I don't know whether I was listening to my intuition or superstition, but I just couldn't load the cannons just because it's not my horse. You know, it's not a horse that I've ever backed, and you know, I was just maybe trying to. I was too scared of losing. Then I didn't back it anyway. I might have saved Mark Rhoden a few shekels on this, as I know he was keen to play in the race and he didn't.
Yeah, I was just going to mess around with horses like Halal at the price, but after hearing the tone of Rob's voice and the tenor of his comments, I decided to keep the gun in the holster.
Mark Shean, did you load the cannons on Animo?
No, I didn't. I didn't play in the race, but he did look a lot better than he did at Rose Hill. There was no doubt about that, and he was able to position up a lot closer. Another pretty negative ride on Halal, but that's probably been dictated by bad barriers his last 2 starts. But I agree with Rob; that's the best he's ever looked, and it's just unlucky for him that he's had these bad barriers and now bumping into he might be a superstar, this bloke. So I can't see much reversing for the Champagne if they're heading there, though. Animo certainly does look to be the one to beat as he gets out further in distance as well.
Okay, let's talk about the Derby, the Group 1 over 2400. Explosive Jack getting over the top of Young Werther, and Lions Roar off a very slow tempo for the class. 5.2 lengths slow on Punting form's data to the 600. Rob, there was quite a few angles you could take into this race, but how did you see them?
Oh, look, they all seem to have improved. Most of them look really well, as you'd expect in a derby. I thought Montefiore would look a little bit soft, you know, which I didn't like to see. I'd never seen Lions Roar parade as well. He's never been one of mine, Lions Roar, but I think I had him third in the numbers. Skylab, I might have made my decision to back this horse before I even saw him. He didn't stand out to me like he did in the Rosehill Guineas, but he certainly paraded well. Relaxed with good condition, but maybe he was a bit better that day. I've missed the winner here. And Quay, I think it's still got a little bit of improvement in it. Yale Town, you know, they all look pretty good here. I think the Rocket Spade was a bit toey for memory. It's a race I want to forget.
Mark Shean, your thoughts on this race?
I actually had the winner 4th pick at 16s, but when that horse Saldo Angel went so bad in the fillies race, I dropped off it. So, but these 1st and 2nd have sat back 3 wide all the way off the speed and have just been the superior stayers. So this horse won against older horses in January over 2,400 metres, so it's had an unusual preparation. I think its first start was 2,100, so he's a very dour type, but he got the job done. Skyler, very disappointing cardboard on the ground after that race.
And what were your thoughts on Montefiore there, Mark Shean?
Well, I don't know if he went to the best ground, but I suppose there's a bit of a worry now. She's had 2 starts beyond 2,000 metres and sort of loomed on both occasions. So whether they have to ride her just a little quieter to get a staying trip, I suppose the Oaks might be an easier race. It might not. I'm not sure. But the jury's probably got to be out that she can run past 2,000, in my opinion.
Sure. Mark Rhoden, your thoughts on the beaten favourites in this race?
Skylar, very ordinary. Just Rob saying that she still looked a bit fat. Not a feel out here. Hard to believe, isn't it, in a derby? But maybe it's topped her off with the Oaks. I don't know. I'll have to have more of a think about that during the week. I'm not desperate to find her in the Oaks, I'll say that much. Rob also said that, Quay looked a bit soft, which, just bizarre. Group 1 race, 2,400 metres and horses coming in not quite there. I was on Quay, and it certainly raced like he was a run short because he had the perfect run. He looked the winner topping the rise, and the others ran past him. So maybe he wasn't run short, I don't know. Really good rides on all 3 place getters, I thought. They had bad barriers and there wasn't much speed on. And although they were wide, and it's probably better ground by then, all 3 of those jockeys did make decisions down the back that they weren't going to get caught too far back, and they just started poking into the race down the side, so they were within striking distance. If they'd waited too long and were more worried about trails and that sort of thing, they could have found themselves out of business. So they did a very good job. Didn't get caught in the position over pace trap. They were proactive and got their reward.
And it was good to see Young Weather just continuing the series of pain for one Jay Dickens, no doubt. We'll go to race 8. TJ, exciting race going into it. Slow tempo in the end, 4.9 lengths slow to the 600. In fact, if you take a line through Eduardo's last 2 starts, the difference in speed to the 600, he went 7 lengths slower on Saturday versus his previous start. Rob Scurry, how did they look to you?
Pretty much all looked good except for 11:11. It looked a bit outclassed and it was a bit sweaty, almost like he knew it was outclassed. He shouldn't have been there. But look, I liked 1, 2, 3 the most. Bivouac is best I've ever seen in parade. Back in my mind, I'm thinking maybe soft track is not his go. Nature Strip's coat just came through and perfect wallow. He's just such a professional these days. Nature Strip wanders around like a lamb. And Eduardo, the opposite, he's still like a bull, wanting to. He's always sort of nodding his head and just wants to get on with it and get in the ring and battle. Masked Crusader, excellent. I do like the look of this Melbourne horse, Zutori, proper horse. Dirty Work caught my eye again. Interested, Dicko says order of command. You can never pick it on looks. It's like one of these horses that parades badly and wins. Looks like it's improved and runs poorly. So look, Nature Strip far too good. We're getting the price, but in the end, I kind of stayed out of the race.
Mark Shean, how did you see the race unfold?
I was probably surprised Eduardo led, but when he jumped so well, I thought he might sort of sit outside Nature Strip, but I got that completely wrong. Nature Strip got into his rhythm beautifully outside him, and it did look a 2-horse race a long way out. Bivouac seemed to be giving him too much start. Masked Crusader missed the start, and then when the tempo wasn't that fierce, he had a big job to do, but boy, oh boy, didn't he finish off well. So he's really turned the corner, that horse, but you can take nothing away from the winner. He's stepped up on the big stage again, and certainly Masked Crusader good. Joe Pride saying after the race he thought Eduardo was a bit flat just after pulling up, so he might have just had those 2 peaks and probably hit the wall on Saturday.
Mark Rhoden, I guess he was due, but I guess also the slower tempo compared with the 2 previous starts, whether that was different rider or it was just the fact that the horse wasn't necessarily feeling as well. I guess it was due for a flat one, but Nature Strip back and just continues the trend of following your little simple rule.
Yes, the $3 rule strikes again. It's got to come to an end someday, but I'm glad it worked on Saturday. Just every now and then he's got a run in that will beat anything else that's thrown up against him in this country. So I'm not sure he's gone to his absolute top there on Saturday, but he's certainly done enough. Been saying for a while, Masked Crusader, he's really made the step up to Group 1 company. He belongs there. He's, no Nature Strip or no Nature Strip on his day. He can win anything now. That was a sensational run on Saturday. He really belongs in this company now. I agree with Rob. I think Bivouac needs dry these days. He's performed well on soft in the past, but his best run's clearly on dry tracks.
Yep.
And yeah, I think Eduardo's just come off that peak. Putting three together at a new level is always a test, and it looks like it's been a bridge too far for him. Nice to see good old Nature's Grip put in one of those runs and get the cash for me.
Yes, exactly right. Okay, let's have a look at the Doncaster. It was only a very narrow margin in the end. As I said, the two horses that were producing all the talk during the week, Ice Bath almost not getting a start, and then also Cascadian with J Car riding off a fast tempo, 2.1 lengths faster to 600 to fought out the finish. Rob Scurry, run us through what was a pretty cracking race in the end.
It was a cracking race. Look, Cascadian, I'm glad I kind of forget. I'd never seen it look better. I remember I had a big Planet one day with Bossy when Special Reward beat it, and you tipped me Special Reward that day, if you recall, Pete.
Yep.
So I've only got bad memories of Cascadians, but he as I said, never better. Ice Bath was also a play in the race for me. I think she's been flying. She's never looked better than she has this time in. She's continued to parade with really great condition. Delasan looked well. Somebody knew something at $34. It seems to be very well backed for a horse that hasn't placed anywhere for a while. Mugger 2 walk around like a lamb. But I think he was forward when I saw him first up before he won the All-Star Mile, so maybe he's come to the end of it. I'm not sure. They're saying maybe they're going to run him in the Queen Elizabeth. But look, Avilius went out on top. He looked outstanding, as he always does. He just doesn't win, but always puts in a great effort. Forbidden Love, the best I've seen at Parade. Rock still got improvement. I was hoping to see a little bit more from that horse. And Moanga was such a short price. He's as I said the other week when he beat Skylab, he's never going to be one of mine, Moanga. So that him being so short made me, there's a little into the race. But look, great finish. It was a good feeling. I was cheering for Ice Bath. It was a better result. But good for racing. Jamie Carr. That's about it.
Okay, Mark Shean, Ice Bath, 2 narrow defeats and 2 big races, and I think everyone's poorer because of it.
Yeah, well, I was on the winner as well, luckily, which has eased the pain a little bit. But I think a lot of people were on Ice Bath, and I just would have liked to have seen her add a little bit wider up the straight. But anyway, she gave us a bit of a cheer there for a while. But Almeida certainly ensured a very solid gallop there, the stablemate of Moanga, and that probably played into Cascadian's hands there because the field did spread out coming to the turn. He got the dream run through instead of being back near last and circling, so he got the job done. I think the eye-catching run here was certainly Zaki, the horse having its first Australian start. It's really powered through the line late, big, strong type, and Rob can probably comment on it as well, but looked pretty good on the yard, even though it was a bit up on the toe. Yep. Mugger 2 just lacked a little bit of zip there for the mile with the weight, I think, at the finish. Probably looking for a little bit further now.
Rob, your thoughts on this Zaki?
Look, they all look good. You can't back them all, but look, I think it can only improve. But everyone's seen the run now, so it might be overbet. But just take it as it comes and see if I get another look at it. Where would it go? Queen Elizabeth? Is there another decent handicap in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, it's hard to say. Might have to go to Queensland maybe for some of the races up there.
Oh yeah, like the Hollandale or something.
Yeah,
might be the go.
Yeah, Mark Rhoden, you were probably cheering Cascadian there in the finishing stages because you found it.
I did. I wasn't on Ice Bath like everyone else in Australia by the sound of it. I actually needed Jamie to throw this one over the line. Not much to add. As far as the race was concerned, I think the boys have covered it pretty well. Zaki was the one I certainly whacked looking from the race. Apparently Jamie said to Huey in the gate she was going to follow him, and if he didn't win, she was going to. So she called her shot and pulled it off. That shows a degree of confidence. And it was a peach of a ride. Maybe the circumstances panned out very well for her, but she had a plan. She was going to follow the favourite, and if she could run past it, she would. And that's exactly how it panned out. Well done.
What do you think of Moanga there? staying on the soft ground and coming back in trip. No, I thought he'd be a better chance in this race than he would be in a derby myself, but I do think he'd be better on top of the ground. He's running the Randwick Guineas looked better than the Rosedale Guineas, didn't it?
Yes, it did. I can see why they went this way, but we've all got a bit of a question mark on the class of the 3-year-olds this group. Whether he was going to be quite good enough to win a race like this against the better older horses was in doubt, but I can certainly see why they went this way.
Okay. That brings us to the last, the PJ Bell Stakes over 1,200 for the 3-year-old fillies. Matchmaker, there was a little bit of, interest in this horse earlier in the week before the final fields came out, and it's managed to salute at double figures off an even tempo, 1 length slow for the class to the 600. Just got over the line in front of Marbusha, who improved after being a little bit flat last start. Rob, how do you see these fillies?
I liked Marbusha, but I couldn't quite forgive it from the other week. I'd never seen the favourite Parade better. What's it called again? The Chris Lee's horse?
Never Talk.
Never Talk. So I ended up having a play on that. I wanted to back the third runner, Geist. I just saw on its form it was like deep into a prep, yet it still looked fat to me. So maybe that's one of my horses to follow out of the meeting. The horse Della Pauline always catches my eye. This sort of a masculine horse, but even at 200 to 1, I just let it go. But it seems to have run well, so maybe it's can win back to a Wednesday. But yeah, how is this much better than what is this race? Is it a Saturday? What are these horses?
Not bad. They're okay.
Yeah. Marbusha, we saw what she did at Flemington. Supreme Idea didn't look that good. This Makrura, I've never liked it. Not my kind of horse. And Najma looked fit and strong and well. But yeah, look, if I was to follow one out of the race, it would be Geist.
Okay, Mark Shean, how did you find the last race on the card?
Well, first, second and third all finishing wide here. Jason Collett probably took the wrong option to go back to the fence or Never Talk. Probably he was too far back, thinking I'll have to try and save ground here and cut the corner, but I think she was pretty brave there in inferior ground. Matchmaker certainly looks to be going a lot better than she was in New Zealand. They did try her at 1,600 metres there and she failed quite badly, and Wallace kept her to the sprint trips here, and she got away from that biased Rose Hill track last time out and got a much better go at them in the straight. Marbusha honest, but Geist was a very good run as well. I think she is a big heavy type, Rob, and she's, from memory, I've seen her quite a few times. She doesn't look a bit like that, but she made up a stack of ground. But I think if you ran this race again, you could probably get 3 or 4 different results. Yeah,
it certainly did look that way, Mark Rhoden, didn't it? Never Talk just slowly drifted out and eventually hit a backable price.
Yeah, I had to back her when she got out, but this is, the reason I don't like backing back markers as a general rule. Things like this could happen. He actually got, I'm a big J. Collett fan, don't get me wrong, but I think it was actually R. Bayless on All Hallows Eve has really pushed him into the fence early, put him where he wanted him. All Hallows Eve ended up getting the outside, and I thought from barrier 7 he'd be a good chance of getting to the middle at least, but he's ended up hard fence. Probably cost of the race. You could argue it cost of the race. Bit sick I haven't got anything out of Matchmaker yet. Back to the Wednesday first up when it got out to 20 to 1 and ran second. That was great. I wanted to give her a chance on Saturday, but I didn't like the barrier. Of course, it was fine by the last. And great ride, McDonald. He not only got cover, he was only 2 or 3 lengths off the lead as well. So I think the rides won her the race, but she's handy. And the other one, Mark mentioned Geist, it was the best of the closers. Stella Pauline, that's her best run in ages, Rob, I have to say. I thought she was completely gone, but she's just shown a glimpse there, so there might be a pulse.
Okay, that brings us to the end. We'll get a couple of horses to follow from each of you. Mark Shean, I'll start with yourself.
Well, I suppose as the obvious ones, I suppose High Supremacy will go to the packet plate, and but he'll have the flashing light on from that run. I think everyone saw most of the good runs of the day, so I'm not jumping over everything to follow from here on in. Well, let's see what they dish up next Saturday. Okay, sounds good. Mark Rhoden, anything out wide for yourself?
No, I can't. Nothing clever. High Supremacy, Bargain, Zaki, Geist. Everyone's seen them.
Yeah, Rob, you were pretty keen to follow Geist as one of yours out of the meeting.
Yeah, and I'll follow this Subterranean. But yeah, they're 2 3-year-olds in a horrible 3-year-old year. So I'll just take it as it comes next week.
Okay, well, speaking of the week ahead, we've got Hawkesbury Wednesday, Newcastle Thursday, and then Kembla and day 2 of the championships on Saturday. Mark Shean, is there one race in particular you're really looking forward to next week?
Oh, well, it's Queen Elizabeth next week, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a Very Elegant and a Dabe going head-to-head again, so I'm sure whatever I do, I'll be on the wrong one. Just continue a bit of pain in these match races. The coin keeps going down the wrong way.
Oh, indeed. Mark Rhoden, do you have any thought on that match race just at this stage?
Yeah, I feel a bit the same. It'd be an interesting spectacle because Dave, he spits the bit out a long way from home, and then Tiger Tom has to start flailing away from about the 600 and try and get him to keep going for the last 3 furlongs. So that'll be worth watching anyway. It should be a great race. And looking forward to seeing September Run in the Arrowfield after she dodged the TJ this week. So that'll be worth watching too.
Yeah, Rob, have you cast your eye over any of the fields early, or are you just going to wait till Saturday?
I try not to look at the fields at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I've looked at the weather, and the weather looks like it's going to be okay. So I'm keen to get back out there on what might be a 4 or a 5, which is great.
Okay, beautiful. Thanks for joining me to review that meeting. We'll preview it later in the week, and then we'll catch up and review it again next Monday on Victims of the Punt. Until then, guys, go well.